Happy Friday, everyone. I am Jesse Crosby, and today I will be informing you on the history of photography. So, where does photography actually stem from? Photography was derived from the Greek words photos and graphene. Photos meaning light, graphene meaning to draw. Put those two words together means to draw from light. So, this was first used by scientist Sir John F. W. Herschel in 1839. He came up with a method of recording images by action of light or radiation on sensitive material. This first method came from Alhazen, who was a middle-aged optics genius. He invented the first pinhole camera, which was also called the camera obscura. In 330 BC, Aristotle observed why the sun could make a circular image through a square hole when it shined through a square hole, mind you. So this first process was adopted by the idea of Aristotle by the inventor Louis Daguerre, who was the inventor of the first practical process of photography. With that being said, he came up with the process of fixed images onto a sheet of plated copper. He polished this with silver, coated it with iodine, and this created a surface exposed to light, and it was very sensitive. And then it was placed in chlorine, and this process created a lasting image, and it was unable to change once it was exposed to light. Moving on to the negative and positive process, Henry Fox Talbot invented multiple positives, and this was the process of bringing paper to light, light to paper, mixing it with a salt solution. The paper was then exposed to light as the background became black. The subject was rendered in gradations of gray, and the negative image from the paper image was then turned into contact prints. This was the process of reversing light and shadows to create a detailed picture. Moving on to some historical significance and processing, in 1841, the process of paper negative was called calotype. This was Greek for beautiful picture. The first flexible rolls of film were dated in 1889, and this was made of cellulose nitrate, which was similar to gun cotton. These nitrate-based film allowed for the development of film rolls, and these flexible movie films were measured 35 millimeters wide and came in long rolls on a spool. Moving on to some technological advancements, in the mid-1920s, medium format roll with film was created, measuring 6 centimeters wide with a paper background. Most films were produced up to the 1970s were based on tri-state technology, and today the technology is produced with film with T-grain emulsions rendering a film grain pattern. And linen rag papers were originally used actually for the base of making photographic prints, and this paper was used for the base along with grain gelatin, which was quite stable when properly processed. Color prints were not successful in the early stages of development, this being because they were used with organic dyes, which caused the image to deteriorate and disappear from the paper. Moving on to some advancements in print and the camera, the newest techniques of creating permanent color, and this permanent color lasts for actually up to 200 years or more, and these new printing methods are using computer-generated digital images, which are highly stable pigments offering for color photographs. In the advancement of the camera, in 1905, Oscar Barnack had the idea of reducing the format of film negatives and then enlarging them after they've been exposed. So he took these exposure samples for cinema film and turned them into the world's first 35mm camera. Polaroid photography was invented after that by Ernest Land, and he invented this one-step process for developing and creating instant photographs. Fuji then invented the disposable camera in 1986, which was called a single-use camera. And today's photographic world, the Canon demonstrated the first digital electronic camera in 1984. In February 1992, the Kodak introduced the first photo CD, which was actually the first available process to the general public in being able to store photographs on a CD. So in conclusion, the advancement of digital photography and film photography has similarities and differences. Digital cameras have definitely adopted the same ISO system as it did back in the 1920s, and advancements in film and processing are still evolving, but some also still use the old process that was back in the Middle Ages. And advancements in film and digital processing have changed for the better, but darkrooms are still being used today to exploit photographs. I actually enjoy darkroom film myself. The whole process of putting it through all the chemicals and just seeing how your negatives turn out is quite, it's interesting because you never know what you're capturing until you see it on the film roll. So the evolution of this process, with that being said, has shaped our world today, changing our perspective of photography, but also the evolution of photography and the way that it's evolved through the years dating way back to just an idea Aristotle had, changing it to, being plated on copper and silver and using all these different chemicals, having to go through all these different processes, to now it's just one click of a button. So many people today just shoot digitally because it's so much easier. I think it's just a beautiful process, the way that photography has evolved and the way that we've come to appreciate different ways of photographing and developing. I hope you all have enjoyed the historical importance of photography, and I look forward to speaking with all of you soon. Have a wonderful day and a great weekend.